You said something today that you didn't need to say. Maybe it was a comment about the weather. Maybe it was a joke that no one really laughed at. Maybe you told someone a story about something that happened to you, even though it didn't change anything for them. You just talked, and they talked back. And somehow that felt necessary. But here's what's strange. No other animal on Earth does this the way you do. And the real reason humans started talking to each other has almost nothing to do with what you think. Most people assume language evolved so we could share information. You tell me where the food is. I tell you where the predator is. Simple, efficient, logical. But that explanation has a problem. Vervet monkeys have alarm calls. Bees do a waggle dance that communicates exact distances and directions to nectar. Prairie dogs can describe the size, color, and speed of a predator in a single call. Information transfer is ancient. It did not require the complexity of human language. So why did your ancestors develop something so energetically expensive, so intricate, so endlessly strange as the ability to talk about things that don't exist? The answer begins somewhere around 300,000 years ago. Your ancestors were living in groups, not small families. Big, unstable, complicated social groups where keeping track of everyone and everything was becoming a genuine cognitive problem. A chimpanzee can maintain close social bonds with roughly 50 others. They do it through grooming, physical contact, time spent touching. It works, but it scales terribly. You can only groom one individual at a time. If the group grows, grooming can't keep up. Something had to change. Robin Dunbar, an evolutionary psychologist at the University of Oxford, noticed something. He was studying primates and he kept finding the same pattern. The size of the social group an animal lives in correlates almost perfectly with the size of its neocortex. The bigger the brain's social processing region, the bigger the group. When he extrapolated this relationship to human brains, he got a number: 150. That is the maximum number of meaningful social relationships the average human brain can manage. It became known as Dunbar's number. And what Dunbar proposed next changed everything. He argued that language evolved as social grooming, not information transfer. Grooming. Your early ancestors needed to maintain bonds with more individuals than physical touch could ever reach. So they found a way to groom at a distance, with sound, with words, with stories. You could now groom 3, 4, 5 people simultaneously by talking to them. Your voice could reach a whole group around a fire. And unlike hands, your voice never got tired. Think about what this means. The first purpose of human language was not practical. It was relational. It was not about the mammoth over the hill. It was about you and me, and whether we trust each other, and whether I will help you when you need it, and whether we are part of the same group. The first conversations were not instructions. They were connection. This is why gossip exists, not as a flaw in your character, as a function of your evolutionary design. Dunbar and his colleagues ran studies analyzing spontaneous conversations in cafeterias, offices, and public spaces. Across cultures and demographics, roughly 60 to 65% of human conversation time is spent on social topics. Who did what? Who said what to whom? Who is reliable? Who broke the rules? This is not idle chatter. This is your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. It is running social software, updating its model of the group, checking who can be trusted, maintaining the bonds that, for most of human history, were the difference between survival and death. Your ancestors did not survive alone. The ones who could not form alliances, could not read social dynamics, could not communicate who they were and what they valued. Those individuals did not make it. The ones who could talk, who could tell stories, who could make others feel understood and seen, those were the ones whose children survived. You are descended from the great communicators, from the ones who sat around the fire and held the group together with their voice. But language did something even stranger once it arrived. It did not stay in the social lane. It broke out. Because here is the thing about the human brain. Once it had the machinery for language, that machinery started processing everything. And something unprecedented happened. Your ancestors could now describe things that did not exist. They could say, "Imagine if we went around the mountain instead of over it." They could say, What if we work together and divide the task? They could say, I had a dream and I think it means something. They could describe the past, plan for the future, warn about dangers they had not seen but imagined, create rules for behavior that no one had.